Hey yo, we in here, right? On the Saturday side of the game. I got a question. Do black people know how to swim? Can black people swim? Is it a myth? You know what I'm saying? Do you know how to swim? We're going to answer some of those questions here on the Keep It P podcast. We'll be right back. Tell all your friends. This should be a good discussion. Let's do this. Let's get it in here. I guess it's kind of like 12 o'clock, so let's go with the nooner.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, TC Vaughn Savage and J Lava is in the fucking building with the Keep It P podcast, motherfucker.
Yo, I really want to congratulate TZ Vaughn Savage and J Lava on their new podcast, the Keep It P podcast, where they take news, situations, and everyday occurrences and tell how one could have or could not have been keeping it P.
Into the light. It is I, J Lava, and this is the Keep It P podcast, where we take news, situations, everyday occurrences, and indeed we show how one could have and could not have been keeping it P. And like I try to tell you all the time, I'm not trying to tell you what to think. Nope, that's not my job. My job is to show you how to think. That's the reason in which I bust down the articles in the way I do, right? So yeah, I found this article that was real interesting, y'all. So this is like one of them daily situations or occurrences. Here, let me put my reference pictures back up. But the topic was racism in swimming, and I thought that was like an interesting topic. Hold on, let me see if I can find this article real quick. Because I pulled it up on the computer. But okay, here we go. So yeah, it was about a guardian and all of that. And then I pulled it up. It says, racism is held up ethnic minorities in swimming, says Alice Deering. Alice Deering, first black female swimmer to represent Britain. Oh, hold on. That's not the one. That's not the one I want to read. That's not it. It's this other one. About the, okay, here you go. The history of American swimming pools. A new study says 58% of African American children can't swim, offering perspective on the Americans' strange relationship with water and chlorine, and it's and Jeff Wetzel, author, Contested Waters, A Social History of Swimming Pools in America. It says, so a study released last week that caught the eye. According to U.S. Swimming, over 58% of African American children can't swim. That's almost double the weight of white children, and the African American children drown at nearly 3 times the overall weight. That got us here at the BPP asking a question about, well, race and swimming. And it turns out that there's a lot to say about this topic. Now, before I go on, I want to know, can you swim? Because I can swim like a motherfucker. And all my kids can too. But that's because when I was little, I won't say when, but there was like a park that had a pool at it. And I used to go up there. I'm talking about like at 5 years old. And I used to just go swimming. And I kind of learned how to swim up there. Now, now that I think about it, I could have drowned because or anything could have happened to me. I was so like, they had lifeguards and all of that too. But back in the day, I don't know if y'all know, I sound all old now. Back in the day, boy, we used to go outside and really be outside, boy. You be all across the world, places your ass ain't supposed to be, doing all type of shit. When I was little, boy. Now, y'all don't do nothing but play Pokemon, boy. At the crib, boy. Fortnite, boy. What you know about outside? I remember I was at a junkyard playing when I was a kid, boy, and sliced my finger to the damn bone and tried to hide that shit so I can go back out and play, boy. Real shit. Swimming pools offer their own history lesson that's sort of about the U.S. or hasn't dealt with racist tension over the years. And as much as a history is chronicled in a book by Jeff Weist, he's the author of Contested Waters, is pretty much an entire canon of swimming pool history out there. And Jeff joins me on the lines now. Hey, Jeff. Oh, so they got Jeff on the line. Dr. Jeff Weinstein, U.S. University of Montana author, Contested Waters, a social history in swimming pools in America. Hello, Martin. Hey there. Thanks for joining us. Dr. Weinstein, it's my pleasure. Martin. So, Jeff, you wrote in the late 19th century and early 20th, municipal pools, city pools weren't built in African American neighborhoods the same way or at the same rate they were built in other neighborhoods. Okay. Then others seem to shift to the 20s and 30s. Pools were segregated but separate, but equal wasn't really equal, right? Talk about how the pools varied and what were the differences. Well, Dr. Weist said, okay, well, first let me address what you brought up initially, which is during the 19th century and early of 20th century, cities throughout the northern United States built lots of pools in poor immigrant working class neighborhoods, but conspicuously avoided building pools in neighborhoods inhabiting predominantly Black Americans. Okay. All right. Okay. And then said it, and then in the 1920s and 1930s, there was a pool building spree in the United States, and there was literally thousands and thousands of pools where they were opened in the 1920s and 30s, many of which were in large leisure resort pools, and some of them were larger than a football field, and they were surrounded by grassy lawns and concrete decks that attracted literally millions and millions of swimmers. And yet, it was at that point in time, cities began to racially segregate pools throughout the North, and it's extended obviously all through the United States, and many Black Americans were typically regulated if a pool was provided at all to small indoor pools that wasn't nearly appealing as the large outdoor residential pools that were provided for whites. I didn't know that. Now that I think about it, it was a large indoor pool at Jerry Gamble's, and that shit's covered up now, which is the funny point. Jerry Gamble's is the Boys and Girls Club that I used to go to back in the day, and I used to swim in there. That's actually where I officially learned how to like really swim. Like, but I always lived in complexes with pools, so I always knew how to swim, like at least back and forth to whoop. But I'm talking about it's like getting my stroke and my breathe. Anyway, they didn't covered up the pool now with a gymnasium in that same Jerry Gamble. So those Black kids in that neighborhood, that Black neighborhood, north side of Minneapolis, they do not have that same pool access. That's terrible. Matter of fact, I think there was a pool at Franklin too, I think, somewhere or something. I don't know. I can't. Or was that north? So is it a pool at some school or something like that that's not there either no more? Y'all in the comment section, let me know. But it said, and also take the city of St. Louis. In St. Louis, Black Americans represented 15% of the population in the mid-30s, but they only took 1.5% of the number of swims because they were only allowed one small indoor pool, whereas white residents of St. Louis had access to 9 pools. 2 of them were large resort pools that I've been describing. And you've written about the specific instances where there was some real violence surrounding these swimming pools when black people would try to access these white pools. Can you tell us about some of the incidents that specifically took place in Highland Park? And I think Highland Park he's referencing Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. But let me go on. Or I mean, Chicago area, Illinois area. Yeah, sure. So there were two ways in which communities racially segregated pools at the time. One was they officially segregated them so the police officers and the city officials would prevent black Americans from entering the pools, and they would have earmarked them for whites only. And the other way of segregating pools was through violence. And so cities like Pittsburgh, it did not only pass official policy of racial segregation pools, but rather the policy in the city officials allowed, in some cases, encouraged white swimmers to literally beat black swimmers out of the water, as if meaning pools are segregated, as if meaning the intimidation from trying to access the pools. So there were many instances. Well, there was a series of instances two summers at Highland Park Pool when it first opened in the 1931, I'm sorry. In Chicago, we would say, I knew it was Chicago. So Highland Park Pool is actually in Pittsburgh. Oh, Pittsburgh, I'm sorry. Oh, I thought it was. Oh yeah, Highland Park Pool is in Pittsburgh. So young black men, typically between say 16 and 20, tried to access the pool, and if they made it into the water, they'd oftentimes beat and be dunked and punched in the water. Eventually, whites set up, especially sentinel guards at the entrance to the pool. When black swimmers tried to come in and access, they were beaten, sometimes with clubs. Damn. They were punched to the ground. They were kicked to the ground. In my book, I have some pictures of black Americans who were literally sort of lie still on the ground with bloody hands from being pummeled to the ground just for trying to access swimming pools. I will never understand that shit. I will never understand. I don't understand. Even in the civil rights movement, I never understand why people went so hard to go sit at a damn table or a counter where people said don't come eat, and then you get the food and it's like, well, what did they do to the food in the back? And then, like TZ said the other day, when did they start cooking good ass food? Like, when did the shit start being so good you just had to go get your sandwich from that spot? Like, this shit wows me. We come a long way as a people, because nigga, what's wrong with your own school, your own swimming pool, cuz you don't like your swimming pool, cuz? Anyway, hold on, I just kind of got off the article. Hold on, let me see if I can go back. Okay, there we go. All right, this is a long article, so I'm gonna spare y'all all the details, so I'm gonna just get to the whoop. It says, Dr. Weiss, well, actually, let me get to the question. Did you find that there was white flight more from public pools more other than public transportation, like public transportation or public schools? White. I didn't study those other institutions, but based upon what I know of scholarships that I studied those, that answer is yes. The impact that desegregation had upon swimming pools had much more profound than other spaces. Eventually, residential neighbors, the term white flight was typically used to describe the phenomenon of when a residential neighborhood would become racially integrated. The black family would move into the neighborhood, and that had previously been white. A large number of white families would move out, and the neighborhood would typically what white flight has been referred to. But I think the phenomenon was more pronounced at the swimming pool, precisely because it was such an intimate public space. Tariq does talk about this all the time, like water and PC society, like they real funny style about that, like they just listen. Lastly, Jeff, the situation now was pegged into the study which released giving a startling number about swimming rates among African American children. Have you looked into the role of swimming pools today? Is it any better? Yeah, no, probably. The problem is swimming pools today, municipality swimming pools today, are not as high of a public priority as they were back as pretty much in the 20th century. I mean, during the 20th century, especially 20s and 30s and 40s, the pools were a high public priority because wasn't shit else to do, wasn't no video games, ain't no none of all that shit. So that's what he's trying to say. But right now, they aren't so much. People want to gain access to swimming pools to have access to private pools, and so clearly it works to the advantage of enables middle and upper class Americans to gain access to pools because they have access to private pools. He said the crux of the thought process is showing our humanity as a people. We are not that we are made out to be. The media and this were persuasive at the time. Well, yeah, of course they was persuading people to discriminate people against going swimming and all of that. He said, and the fact that there was more access to private pools. Yeah, I mean, listen, I know a whole bunch of people who cannot swim. I know a whole bunch of people who say they can't swim. So there's a little, there's ripple effects to discrimination and access, right? You know, I myself, I must say that I have been fortunate enough to live in nice complexes, I guess, that had pool access. Like I've always kind of been around pools, and like I said, like even when I was little, there was pool at the park, a big pool at the park, you know, like there was always pools around. Like but I always been a swimmer, and since I've been a swimmer, my family's a swimmer. Yeah, man. Y'all tell me what you think about that, though. Okay? Can you swim? First of all, put that in the comment section. We're gonna have. I think we need to have a swimmers and a non-swimmers. I need to know who can swim. I need to know who cannot swim, just to see something. Trying to see something. He said, also, let's not forget the myths of sexual brute. The black men are considered being aggressive towards white men in bathing suits. Right. You know what? That's a good point too. That is a very, very, very good point. Because, of course, and hold on, the flip side of that too. Let's not forget about the insecurities of the dominant society when the black woman comes in with all her curves and figurations, and you know what I'm saying, it ain't on the other side. So there's two methods in which we are being hypersexualized and trivialized, and you know what I'm saying, marginalized, and just because of not only the skin color but the body type. You know what I'm saying? I was in the Navy, had to swim. All right, for sure. But yeah, like Jana, you can swim, right? Okay. All right, yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure. Anyway, I ain't gonna hold y'all. What's up, Knight? You dig what I'm saying? I'm gonna come tap back in, bro, on a couple stories today. I'm just getting warmed up. Wanted to chop it up with the family. Plus, I know it ain't not a lot of you young white men don't want to be caught looking at black women either. That's what I'm saying. It's twofold, right? They don't want the bucks walking around with their chests all out, and they definitely don't want to see, you know, our women with the nice curves, hips, and ass. That's just a problem, right? On both sides. So, yeah, I could say there's multiple layers in that in which he did not touch. He said, easier buck one if she works for you at home than people at the pool. Right. That's how they used to do it back in the day. We already know. They never talk about this, but palm-colored females was some of the biggest slaveholders back in America, and you better believe. That's a terrible thought. My mind goes to the most atrocious of atrociouses of diligences that my mans would be up under, dealing with early 18th century coochie. Oh my God. The coochie maintenance was terrible back then. So, oh man, I know it was just all bad. Anyway, that was totally off subject. Go grab a shirt, Here, let me show you what shirt. When I'm talking about, I can show you better than I can tell you, boy. I can show you better than I can tell you, boy. Go grab one of them things. You dig what I'm saying? Let me give you a Rick Ross ad lib. You know what I'm saying? Blow the horns. You know what I'm saying? And drop a bomb. You see what I'm saying? No anti-black racism. Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest store. It's in the description. Also, the song. You know, you can grab the songs and all of that. Go stream them. You know, y'all know what the deal is. But I do have the 4 words. And I don't even like how I come up all small right there. I can't be all small right there. Hold on. IT, hook that up for me. Thank you. 4 words. Love. I forget which way to point. Love, peace, the blessings. That's the Birdman hand rub. And Aloha family. And then I'm gonna give you these commercials. I'm gonna give you these other commercials. I got some other commercials that I had too, but check this out.
Music TV.
Ways for you to run my cash. Check reparation. Check reparation. Check reparation. Check reparation. Check reparation. Check reparation. Check reparation.
Tryna bring it back, 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 back. Tryna bring it back, 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 back. Tryna bring it back, back, back.
I bring it back like I took it from the premises. I bring it back like it's stolen from my nemesis. I bring it back. Shawty bang my line. You can holler at me later. Shawty bang my line. Shawty bang my line. Bang my line. You can holler at me later. Shawty bang my line. You can catch me on the book or DM me at IG. Consider me. Look, I don't play with this shit. You don't even know what I gave to this shit. Self-made with this shit. I slay with this shit. Been a lot of roads I done paved with this shit. Look.
Taking flight, changing life in one night. By 2 a.m. if you do it right. Up late like nigga night. Small fish, big appetite. Get an extra 4 if you whip it right. Got good gas in his light bright. Got big balls and a good pipe. One
wave that you could just go and say this is a possible way for me to go and lay. Man, I knew it was something, couldn't ignore it. It was faith, it was faith. I was in the image and I definitely belong here. And now that I'm here, I'ma change.
Yeah, I'm an animal, red gorilla. I eat your dog, your poochie. Get what you're gonna get, front and center.
Which I grew up living life, which I knew. Standing on my toes, graduated with my honors. TPC scientific, getting to what's the plan? C, throw the kickback, sit back, throwing kicks on, giving applause.
Music TV.